va-voom. That's what they called it. The indefinable quality that made defenders go silent when he picked up the ball. Thierry Henry in full flight was poetry written in motion, a masterpiece painted on grass. The glide, the touch, the finish, perfection wrapped in the number 14. But before he became a king, he was a misfit. Before the statue, there was struggle. Before Highbury roared his name, Turin had turned its back. This is the story of how a struggling winger became the most devastating striker the Premier League has ever seen. This is the story of transformation, of genius unleashed, of a boy from Les Ulis who conquered England but could never fully win over France. This is Thierry Henry, the king of Highbury. Monaco, the principality where dreams are manufactured. Young Thierry Henry arrived there in 1994, a 17-year-old kid from the Parisian suburbs with lightning in his boots and raw talent begging to be shaped. Enter Arsene Wenger. The professor saw something special: speed that could burn through defenses, technical ability beyond his years, intelligence waiting to be unlocked. Wenger molded him, positioned him on the wing, gave him minutes, gave him confidence. By 1997, Henry was a French champion and a rising star. Then came the 1998 World Cup. France lifted the trophy on home soil, and Henry, just 21 years old, was part of the squad that made history. The world was watching. Europe's giants came calling. Juventus, the old lady of Turin. Serie A in the late 90s was the pinnacle of world football, the most tactical, the most defensive, the most unforgiving league on the planet. Henry signed in 1999 for £10.5 million, ready to conquer Italy the way he'd conquered France. It was a disaster. Carlo Ancelotti deployed him as a winger in a rigid system that strangled his natural game. Serie A defenders didn't fear his pace. They suffocated it with tactical discipline and physical intimidation. In 6 months, Henry managed 3 goals. 3. The wonder kid from Monaco had become a misfit in black and white stripes, lost in a football culture that didn't understand him and didn't want to wait for him to adapt. The Italian experience broke him down but didn't break him. Henry was confused, frustrated, questioning whether he belonged at the highest level. Juventus didn't want him anymore. The feeling was mutual. He needed rescue, needed someone who understood his game, needed a manager who could see past the struggling winger and envision something greater. That manager was about to call. Arsene Wenger had left Monaco for Arsenal. The reunion was about to change football history. Henry was going to North London. He was going home to the man who first believed in him. He just didn't know he was about to become a king. August 1999. Thierry Henry landed in London as damaged goods. Arsenal fans were skeptical. Another expensive winger from Serie A, another question mark in attack. Wenger saw what nobody else did. He saw a striker. Not a winger feeding others, but a centre-forward who could destroy defences with a combination of attributes that had never existed in one player before. The transformation began immediately. Wenger moved Henry central, gave him freedom to drift, told him to attack the space behind defenders. It was like unlocking a cheat code. The speed was still there, but now it had purpose. The skill was still there, but now it had direction. Henry didn't just run at defenders. He ran past them, through them, around them, leaving them grasping at shadows. The attributes were perfect. Pace that made him unplayable in transition. First touch so smooth the ball seemed magnetized to his boot. Vision to find passes that didn't exist. And that finish. Oh, that finish. The calm, the poise, the certainty. Henry didn't just score goals. He crafted them, composed them like a conductor leading an orchestra. The signature move became iconic. Receive the ball on the left, cut inside, glide past helpless defenders, slot it far post with his right foot. Goalkeepers knew it was coming. Couldn't stop it anyway. By his second season, He had 39 goals across all competitions. By his third, he was the Premier League's top scorer. The King Henry nickname wasn't given. It was earned, chanted, roared by 50,000 voices at Highbury. Then came 2003 to 2004. The Invincibles. 38 games. 0 defeats. Henry at the absolute peak of his powers, scoring 30 league goals while orchestrating Arsenal's entire attack. He wasn't just the best striker in England, he was the best player in the world, operating at a level that seemed superhuman. Defenders couldn't catch him. Tactical systems couldn't contain him. He was unstoppable, inevitable, a force of nature disguised as a footballer. That season cemented his legacy. Thierry Henry wasn't just Arsenal's talisman, he was the embodiment of beautiful, devastating, irresistible football. The king ruled Highbury, and English football bowed before him. Every king eventually leaves his throne. In 2007, after 8 years and 226 goals for Arsenal, Henry departed for Barcelona. The move felt inevitable but still broke hearts across North London. He was 30, entering the twilight of his prime, seeking the one trophy that had eluded him, the Champions League. Barcelona offered that chance. Pep Guardiola arrived a year later and built something extraordinary, a team that would dominate Europe, playing football from another dimension. Henry wasn't the main star anymore. That honor belonged to Messi. But he was crucial, the experienced head in a young team, the one who knew how to win when it mattered most. The 2008 to 2009 season delivered everything Henry had dreamed of. The treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Champions League, all in one glorious campaign. Henry played his role perfectly, scoring important goals, providing leadership, sacrificing personal glory for collective success. The Champions League final in Rome against Manchester United was the culmination. Barcelona won 2-0. Henry lifted the trophy he'd chased his entire career. The smile on his face said everything: vindication, completion, closure. After 2 seasons in Catalonia, he moved to MLS, joining New York Red Bulls for a new adventure in a growing league. The goals slowed, the pace diminished, but the class remained eternal. Then came the moment that stopped time. January 2012. Arsenal needed help. Injuries had depleted the squad. Henry, still technically on loan from Red Bulls during the MLS offseason, returned to the Emirates for 2 months. The prodigal king coming home. His first game back, against Leeds in the FA Cup, he scored. The celebration was pure emotion, arms outstretched, head back, embracing a stadium that never stopped loving him. He made 7 appearances, scored twice, reminded everyone what greatness looked like. It was a farewell tour, a final embrace, a love letter between player and club. Then he returned to New York, retired in 2014, and closed the book on one of football's most beautiful careers. ...123 caps for France, 51 goals. All-time leading scorer for Les Bleus. On paper, Thierry Henry is a French football god, a national treasure who delivered in the biggest moments. He won the World Cup in 1998, the European Championship in 2000. He was there for the greatest generation of French football, standing alongside Zidane, Vieira, Thuram. But in France, the relationship was always complicated, always tinged with something colder than the adoration he received in England. The paradox was cruel: worshipped in London, questioned in Paris. French fans never fully embraced him the way Arsenal fans did. Part of it was his style, smooth, elegant, almost arrogant in its ease. Zidane was the poet, beloved for his humility and grace. Platini was the architect, revered for his genius. Henry was the assassin, clinical and cold, and French culture values warmth in its heroes. But the real damage came in 2010. The World Cup qualifier against Ireland. The handball. Henry controlled the ball with his hand, crossed to William Gallas, France scored, eliminated Ireland, qualified for South Africa. The world saw it. The replay showed it. Henry admitted it. France qualified on a cheat. The backlash was volcanic. In England, they shrugged. Everyone tries to get away with things. In France, they couldn't forgive him. The 2010 World Cup itself was a disaster. France imploded spectacularly. Player revolts, training ground strikes, humiliation on and off the pitch. Henry was part of that chaos, part of the generation that tarnished French football's reputation. He retired from international duty after the tournament, his legacy with Les Bleus forever complicated by controversy and disappointment. The irony is exquisite and painful. In England, he's immortal, the king who can do no wrong. In France, he's the talented striker who never quite captured hearts the way Zidane did, the pragmatist in a culture that worships artists. He gave France everything on the pitch. They gave him respect but never love. The king ruled England. In France, he was always just a very good player. Outside the Emirates Stadium, frozen in bronze, Thierry Henry stands eternal. The statue captures him mid-celebration, arms wide, head thrown back, radiating pure joy. It was unveiled in 2011, a rare honor given to a player who revolutionized what it meant to be a striker in England. The inscription reads, Thierry Henry, 1999 to 2007 and 2012, 226 goals. But the statue represents more than numbers. It represents a philosophy that football can be both effective and beautiful, that winning doesn't require ugliness, that perfection is possible if you're willing to work for it. Henry changed the Premier League. Before him, English strikers were battering rams, Shearer, Ferdinand, Sutton, powerful, direct, functional. Henry brought something different. Continental sophistication married to devastating efficiency. He showed that you could glide past defenders instead of bulldozing through them, that intelligence could be more lethal than physicality. Every modern striker in the Premier League, from Aguero to Salah to Haaland, owes something to Henry's blueprint. He proved that pace and skill weren't luxuries, they were weapons. He proved that a striker could be an artist. The legacy extends beyond Arsenal, beyond England, beyond the trophies and records. Thierry Henry represents what football looks like when talent meets the perfect environment, when a genius finds a manager who understands him, when a player and a club fall in love and create something that transcends the sport. He is the standard, the benchmark, the unreachable ideal that every striker chases and few ever approach. At Highbury, he wasn't just a player, he was the embodiment of everything beautiful about the game. The statue will stand for centuries, a bronze monument to perfection. But for those who saw him play, who witnessed the glide, the touch, the finish, the memory needs no statue. Thierry Henry is eternal, the king of Highbury, forever.